Hi, Charles. Great to have Steve Morrison visiting us today, all the way up, as we've just lost the little mouse thing down here. This is real life video. This is not a fake thing. Right. This is not done by those big names. This is just done because we care, and I know Steve cares. Introduce yourself again, Steve, just briefly.
Yep, Steve Morrison, born and bred in Geelong, been in ministry for 27 years now, currently working as a school chaplain in a suburb in the western suburbs of Melbourne, and I also run a coaching and counselling practice, working with all sorts of people from all over the world, and it's a great privilege.
Thanks, Steve. Now, one of the things that has come to my understanding, when you've talked about what you've been doing and how God has led you, is that there's a quick change taking place in people who come to you, or you have a conversation with them and they open up. Tell us about the quick change when it comes to counselling. What is that? How does that work?
Yeah, it's really interesting. People usually come to me for a specific reason, not so much general. It's more, this has happened, or this trauma happened, or this change happened, and then they want to work through that. So depending on what it is, I may very well quickly refer them to a doctor and to get medical support and whatever that might be, and then psychology and whatever things might need, or medication, and because people go through some, as we know, some pretty horrible things, and they do need the support. But there's those other ones I particularly work with who need a shift and adjustment.
Right.
It's a mindset thing.
Yep.
And so I've picked up on teaching of a clinical psychologist named Dr. Ivan Honey, and I use this teaching all the time in my own life and with my clients. And so to help the folk watching this, I want you to think of a car. And a car has 4 wheels, of course. It has 2 wheels at the front and 2 wheels at the back. Well, this car that we're talking about is a front-wheel drive car. So the 2 wheels at the front steer the car and it drives the car. The 2 wheels at the back, well, they just follow along. Mm-hmm. They just follow along. So let's name these 4 wheels. The first 2, let's take the driver's side. Well, the driver's side wheel we're going to call thinking. Mm-hmm. The passenger side wheel we're going to call doing. So we've got thinking and doing. Thinking and acting. Thinking and action. The back 2 that follow along, they don't steer and they don't drive, they just follow along. That's called feelings, and they're called physiology or body. So we've got the 4. We have thinking, the way we think about something. We have acting, what we do about the thinking. We have our feelings, we'll come back to them. And then we have our physiology, our body responses. So this is what often people do, and this is why they can get quick change. Mm-hmm. And I was no different. And sometimes I'm still no different. Haven't perfected it yet, Charles. Is that we will focus in on how we're feeling mentally. How do I feel about that?
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but my feelings can lie to me. I think my feelings can lie a lot.
Yes.
And we think about how we feel from a physiology. So I feel anxious, I feel sick, I feel nervous, I feel panicky, I'm twitching, I'm moving, I can't sit still, I've got the shakes, I've got the sweats. Anyone who's been through panic and anxiety will understand that. Unfortunately, I know it all too well. And then how do I feel? Well, I feel anxious, I feel this, I feel this. I've got to change the way I feel. This thing happened to me and I've got to change the way I feel about it. I should stop feeling this way. I should stop feeling angry. I should stop feeling anxious. I should stop. And most people, most of the time, focus in on those 2 wheels at the back that actually just follow along. Unless you are an incredible expert in perhaps yoga or martial arts or some of these things where they focus in on those incredible state of mind, which 99.9% of the population can't do. Most of us have such little control over, particularly our physiology. Like if I say to you, Charles, look at the moment your heart's rate's probably 76 beats per minute. Could you just slow that down to 52 for me? We've got no control over it. It's like when, if I have unfortunately suffered from severe panic attacks for a long time, And I can tell myself, stop it, you're okay, stop it, you're okay, just slow your heart rate down, just slow it down, stop it. I've discovered that I can say that until the cows come home, which is the saying, and nothing changes.
Yes.
Our feelings and our physiology follow along, which leads me to thinking and doing. So I need to think about it differently.
Right.
And then I need to act differently. Instead of focusing on the feelings, I want to think about how do I feel about it. Well, losing my job was horrendous. I feel so bad. No, stop for a sec. Losing my job was horrible and it's put me in this bad situation. But what can I do? I can make new choices. I can upskill. I can get support. I can get onto things. There's a whole lot of things that I can do. In fact, this may be a pivotal point in my life that sets me up into my next season. It'll be far better than any season I've ever had before. And when we get off the feeling physiology and get into the thinking, now if I can really do that, what should I do? Well, today I might go and enroll in a free course at TAFE and upskill because I've always wanted to be a cook.
Right.
And when we focus in on the way we think and then we act according to the way we're thinking, then over time, and sometimes it can be like that, our feelings and our physiology line up. So someone come to me with something that they've been struggling with for years, and 9 out of 10 times they'll talk about feelings and physiology. And all I've got to do, it sounds simple. It's never that simple, is it, Charles? But the focus is if I can get them to think differently, change their mindset. The Bible says the renewing of the mind.
Yes.
The renewing of the mind.
Romans
which means
12.
Romans 12. The renewing of the mind, which means that we can think differently. Proverbs, as a man thinks, so he is. So when we want to change, we've got to think differently. The world calls it mindset. It'll call it, let's not even go down some of those things, but we could spend forever on it. But the fact is, if we can use the imagery of the car, that we have feelings and acting, doing. And if we can get them lined up, then I have found, as has the research and the work of Dr. Ivan Honey, that the feelings and the physiology begin to line up with that renewing of the mind, of the new place. For someone who is down on themselves all the time, if they can think differently, if they can renew their mind, what does Christ say about me? He says, I am a royal priesthood, I was bought with a price, that I am worthy of being loved, that I have unconditional love from the Lord. When we can start to believe that, and then we can act in a way that picks my head up and I think, wow, may not be great at everything, but God says I am worthy. He says I am fantastic. I will begin to carry myself differently. And all of a sudden I'll look back and go, wow, I've actually felt better about myself today.
Yeah.
I've had moments when panic has settled. And it's a skill and a muscle that we've got to develop. But I tell you, that is one of the ways. It's just one of the tools, but it's a powerful tool that I've seen people apply and get incredibly rapid change.
Now, you've not asked me to do this for this reason, but I'll do it. That is to ask, how is it that anyone viewing this, if they were to look for coaching, what would they have to do? Now, I know they could do all sorts of things, but we're talking with yourself today, Steve.
With myself,
Yeah.
So if someone coaches with me, they would probably log on to my website at stevemorrisoncoaching.com, and there's links there to come to me, and then we talk about what it is that they're wanting to change. Predominantly, a coach is someone who gives courage, who gives strategy, who holds accountability, the biggest cheer squad, like the coach on the side, come on, let's go for it. But it's more than that. It challenges, it adjusts, and so that's what I do. My thing is, that would have sounded terrible. I was about to say I don't want to work with people for a long time, but what I'm trying to say is my whole thing is about accelerated change. Most people work with me between 8 and 12 weeks.
Yes.
Because in that time they've got what they wanted to get. They're in a whole new place. They're off and running hard, and it's wonderful. And that's the bottom line. They become clients. They pay for my experience and my training and whatever else, and I coach them into where they want to go. On the rare occasion, well, not rare, there's occasions it's the wrong fit and I won't coach them. I'll either appoint them to a coach that I know that I think will work better with them, or maybe coaching is not actually the right strategy for them. Because the thing with the thing with coaching is really about taking someone from where they are now to where they want to be. And I will blend counselling in a bit to our journey. But sometimes people actually need to do that counselling work first, which is really about what's got them to where they are now and how's that impacted their bias and the way they see the world or themselves in a way that needs some work
Yes.
first.
Yes.
Again, I will do counselling, but most of what I do is coaching. So sometimes I'll say, you know what, I reckon you could work with this counsellor. They're going to really help you get to there. And often that's enough. Or they come back sometimes and go, hey, I'm in such a great space now, but I want to do this. Would you help coach me there? So that's some of the differences between those two.
Right. So for someone to, first of all, find out a little bit more about you, that they can read, see online, where would they go?
SteveMorrisonCoaching.com.
Right. So they've got resources. You've got resources there that will help them to understand
A little bit more about me and
yourself,
some things that are going on.
right? And some contact details if they should choose
Sure.
to do that, or maybe mention to a friend if someone's going through a difficult
Yeah.
challenge.
Often the case, someone will say, hey, I've got a friend who needs this, this and this, and we'll talk about that and then see if we can help them.
Thanks, Steve.
Pleasure, Charles.